My Academia, the official translations are now out. I think we have the info from last chapter. This one is going to be a ride. Before we begin this chapter review, this is the unofficial release. So remember, the releases on the chapter for My Academia come out on Sunday. I'm only doing these just so I can get these videos out. And Sunday on Twitter, I usually just read the chapters. I give you my thoughts. So follow me on Twitter, which will be up on the screen right now. Now, without further ado, let's get into chapter 319 of My Hero Academia. A simple quick recap from last chapter, Deku has been found by Bakugo. After Deku was trying to fight the dictator, he kind of blacked out and knocked out because the dictator has a quirk that can control other people. And now we get back to the chapter, which is a color page of Class 1A a few days after Deku has left. A few notable things that Bakugo rips up the paper that Deku left him, and this is basically him saying that Deku is going to tell me what he has to say to my face. After Deku has left, Bakugo is now grouping up everyone in Class 1A. He is taking charge. Ida then says it looks like Shoto, Bakugo, and Tokoyami weren't able to contact their mentors, which was Hawks, Best Genius, and Endeavor. When we're talking about the big three, this is much better with Tokoyami there. Who is Deku? What is a Deku when you have this big three? Shoto says it's pretty suspicious that they're not answering their phones. They know that they're busy people, but they must be hiding something. Jiro then remembers that All Might hasn't returned either, and then they actually confirm that this is not Class 2A because their classes have been suspended, so they're still waiting to graduate. So they are still in their first year, but they technically should be in their second year. Bakugo being Bakugo then says that Spectacular Birds, which is Hawks, and Jeans, which is Best Genius, visit Deku's hospital. So who's the only person that could have slipped them the notes while they were sleeping at midnight? It could only be All Might. So All Might should be the one with Deku as of right now. Bakugo then says that he knows Deku and All Might the best, and this is probably the worst case scenario. And Uraka then says that Endeavor is at the principal's office. This is probably one of the funniest shots in the whole chapter because all the Class 1A students are just at the front of the door in case this guy tries to escape and just looking at this guy saying, the council will now decide your fate. Shoto then asks Endeavor, why did you ignore me? Well, he's talking about when Endeavor didn't pick up the phone in the warehouse that he was in. And Endeavor says that your words have been guiding me ever since it saved me. And Shoto just goes off and says, I don't feel saved at all, and is Midoriya an exception? And Shoto kind of has a right to be mad because his father was ignoring him, and not only that, his father's letting his best friend act alone with All Might, which is probably dangerous in itself because they're going to walk this thorny path and it's going to hurt them. Bakugo then steps in and calms Shoto down and just says, I knew this would be the case. Maybe for you this would have been the right call, but you don't know anything about Deku or All Might in that case, which Bakugo is right. This may be the right call for Endeavor or any other hero, but they don't have the relationship that Bakugo has with Deku. Bakugo then says that damn nerd has always been like this, ever since he was a kid. The reason why All Might cannot stop Deku from this dark path, because this is the same path that All Might took to become the symbol of peace. This is the same path that all of the One For All users took to try to defeat All For One. Deku doesn't care about his self-injuries or his mental state. He just wants to get the job done and see people around him smile. And Bakugo then shouts at Endeavor, do we just really let them be? Even though yes, Bakugo may have been a jerk to Deku most of his life, Bakugo's trying to redeem himself, and he's showing that he does care about Deku's self-being, and he does care about Deku's situation right now. And we finally get to see what Best Genius and Hawks and the other heroes think about Deku finally leaving All Might behind, and they said that looks like he finally did it, but this is really bad. They need to support him from the sidelines and help him no matter what. Endeavor stays silent and pulls out his phone, and Sero, being smart, decides to say, doesn't that have a GPS on it? And Endeavor doesn't tell them, he just tosses them the phone. Like, he just said, look, I ain't gonna tell you where Deku is, but this phone kinda has a GPS, wink wink. Endeavor tosses them the phone, and everyone, well, the minor characters, the ones that don't know Deku, the ones that are kind of lame and forgettable, go and catch the phone. Well, Sero does, the most forgettable of Class 1A, but he says, can I borrow this? But he then goes back and recollects and says, I don't think I should be the one to find this, because he only known Deku for a year, and they didn't really have a good relationship. Not saying that they hate each other, they just weren't friends. Shoto then says, not telling us about One For All is one thing, but telling us this letter instead of telling us to our face is another thing. It was a big shock. And Ida finally speaks up saying, he's one of our best friends, he's our classmate, so no matter how big the responsibility is, no matter what path he's walking, he's not going to walk it alone because they are his friends. And they cannot smile tomorrow if Deku continues walking this thorny path. Endeavor then says the outside world is dangerous, which he has a point because people tried to kill a fox lady. And Principal Nezu then says that they have grown up, and Deku's still allowed back since the priority of the teachers and UA is to protect the students at all costs. And Deku is still one of their students, even if he left. And Principal Nezu then says that they prepared for the escapees and evacuation ever since the cultural festival, and now it's coming in handy. And they said it's okay since All Might grew up here, and please bring Deku back. Now back to the present, it looks like everyone in Class 1A has arrived, and Bakugo said that he has found Deku. And everyone in Class 1A is doing work. They're able to secure some of the escapees and protect some of the citizens. Momo calls Bakugo by his real name, but then he yells at her saying it's the great explosion murder god Dynamite. And she says, pardon me. So Bakugo basically told her, stop calling me by that name and call me by my actual hero name. Citizens' bodies are back to normal and they thank the Class 1A students. And Deku just looks back and just notices that, why are they here? And Araka then tells him, because we're worried about you. And Deku then says, I'm okay. Really, I'm okay. Deku then says, that's why you guys shouldn't worry about me. And Bakugo just starts laughing and mocking him, saying, as expected from All Might Jr. So after all this, can you even smile anymore? And Bakugo is hitting Deku where it hurts. He's hitting Deku with facts. And Bakugo knows Deku is hurting. He knows that Deku cannot smile after this. And Bakugo is mocking him because Bakugo's trying to make Deku realize reality. He may be harsh, he may be a jerk, but he's telling the truth. Deku then says to be able to smile, for people to live in peace, he must continue to move forward. And this is pretty warped in my opinion. I think this is warped thinking of Deku, because now Deku has to burn the shoulders of everyone and everyone's happiness in Class 1A and the whole society just to try to stop All For One. Deku then tells him, get out my way before somebody ends up like Ida's brother. Bakugo then says, damn, that's kind of out of pocket, but it doesn't matter. Try to make us you all might want to be. And Ida says, damn, that really was out of pocket, but let's go, guys. And Uraka then says, yeah, it looks like they're ready to brawl with Deku, even if they're his friends. Now, this, right now, who do I think could win, Class 1A or Deku? Right now, Deku hasn't got a proper rest. If Deku had a proper rest, I'd probably say that he kind of bodies Class 1A mid-difficulty, but we haven't seen their moves and seen their new strength. So right now, I'm kind of not really on anyone's side, but I do hope that Class 1A can beat him and bring him back. Would it be kind of funny if All For One and some of his villains show up while they're throwing down with Deku? That would be kind of hilarious.
Finally!
But that is the end of the chapter. This is the conclusion of this video. If you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, hit the bell notification to always stay notified whenever I upload. And remember, this is the unofficial release, and the release comes at Sunday, so we can all remember that. I think this chapter was a good 9 out of 10. I really did like it. Now, it has been the Red Cloak. I'm gonna head up out of you guys. Peace out, and I'm out, guys. Peace.